Hello, Flosstube. Welcome back to Stitch and Crime. It is Flossmas, the first day of Flossmas, December 1st. I'm going to be talking about November and my Flossmas plans, and we have two hearings this week. December 2nd, we'll be talking about Micah Smith, and December 4th, we have Jennifer Gledhill's pretrial hearing. But let's start with stitching. You don't have to hang around for the crime at the end, but if you choose to, you choose to. Stitching first, I got Goblin Market back from the framer. Here is Goblin Market. This is a Counted Illuminations pattern, and it was framed by Dustin at Art and Frame Station in Murray, Utah. If you're from Utah, he's just right north of Fashion Place Mall. So anyway, I'm going to put this down for a second. You'll notice the pony has her holiday finery on today. She is still looking for a name, by the way. So if you have a name suggestion for my pony, she came from the 49th Street Galleria. They had back in the 80s, the Galleria had a double-decker carousel. She is one of the top tier horses. So she was on the second level of the carousel. And I was lucky enough to find her in a garage sale. And she came home with me, and she is currently unnamed. So November stitching. We'll do statistics first. I got 10,047 stitches in. My average was 335. My minimum day was 86 stitches. My median was 319.5, and my maximum stitches was an 800 stitch day. And that would have been Saturday when I was up at Stitchery Express and starting my first Flossmas piece. But let's start with what I did work on. Secret Carousel, which is in the other room. I'll put a picture of it at the end. That had 1,436 stitches on it. I am probably not going to hit my goal on that because pretty sure I'm not going to get 7,000 stitches in on it this month. But I have done a whole lot better this year than I have in the other 4 years that I've worked on it. Kingdom of Books. Here's where I am at Kingdom of Books. I put 828 stitches to meet my goal of 8% on this year. If I put 1,300 stitches in it, I will have hit 10%. I don't think that's going to happen. I put 40 stitches into my travel project, which is still sitting in my purse. So I worked on the 10% to finish Princesses du Mal. This is the Princesses du Mal. I put 1,029 stitches in it in November. Very few of those were back stitches. I was working mainly on Maleficent and the Evil Queen. This is an 18 count Ada that I ice dyed myself. So that's an ice dyed fabric with blue, gray, and purple. So when I film up in my stash room, I can just throw things on the carpet when I'm done showing them. No big deal. This is also the room the dogs have their room in. So I've swept the floor, but I'm still not 100% positive about throwing things on the floor in this room. Main Street from Just Cross Stitch. This was the 2005 Just Cross Stitch. It was a series that was done by them. I put in 1,307 stitches. which was basically the roof and part of that third building. And that's just on a piece of antique white linen stitched with DMC. Princesses du Mal is also DMC. That was my phone. Okay, I'm going to move the needle minder on this one so you can see the whole piece. This is Wild Hunt. Wild Hunt is by Firewing Designs. So Wild Hunt is by Firewing Designs. It's one of the 3 carousels that I'm working on. It is considered a carousel. It's got horses and dogs on it. I have finished pages 3 and 6. No. Yeah, I've finished pages 3 and 6 on it. And I put in 1,497 stitches on it. That is on a, I believe it's Picture This Plus Haunted. Picture This Plus carries, Picture This Plus was the distributor for Firewing Designs, and they did most of the dyes for her fabrics. That's not the called for fabric. This is the other carousel I've been working on. This is Teresa Wentzler's carousel. And I have put 1525 on it. And I'm stumped. I am stumped right now because there are 2 symbols that are both listed as 612 and a blend of 612, 611, but they look totally different on the cover. So I know it can't be the same blend. And that is what's going to go right here on the front of the back legs, and then right here in this spot right underneath it. So if you look at it here, right there is the blend between of 612, 611, but on the leg, it looks darker. So I'm wondering if maybe it's supposed to be a 611, 610 blend, or what the dot was supposed to be, except the dot is also up here, right here. And the thing is, that's that tan. So I'm really thinking that the dot here was supposed to be darker. And if you look at the cover picture, it looks darker up here too. But I am not going to unpick it from the top. I'm just going to find a different color to use for the leg of the horse that'll be darker. But I still have 1,500 stitches to go to hit 10% on that one for this year. And then I worked on Lady Scarlet, which is a Just Nan pattern. This is part 2 of Lady Scarlet's journey. This is, I just need the words in front of the squirrel and the acorns in front of the squirrel. And the called for fiber in front of the squirrel is a Weeks Dyerworks, and I don't like the feel of Weeks. I do not like the, it feels crunchy, and I don't know if that makes sense to anybody except for me. It just feels crunchy. I don't like stitching with it. I don't like the texture. I don't like the feel. It's like stitching with Jobelan, which is really interesting because I have a piece in my Flossmas pack in my Flossmas plans that is Jobelan, and we'll see how that works. But it just, I don't like the feel of Weeks Dyerworks, and I think I have found the right fiber for that. And I had it here on the table at one time, and somehow it has disappeared. And I think that's because we cleaned the table off for Thanksgiving and things got moved. Okay, so we talked about Secret Carousel, 1436, Kingdom of Books, Two Gray Hills, which is in my purse, Main Street, Princesses Dumel, Wild Hunt, the Carousel, Lady Scarlet. Okay, remember my max day was 800. I started my Flossmas a bit early by starting again on another reindeer. This is by ScreamingHeartDesign. They're on Etsy. The verse is, you know, Dasher and Dancer, Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid, and Donder and Blitzer, but they were all of them deceived, for another reindeer was made. So this is what I have done since Saturday. Stitchery Express is still doing Saturday stitch-ins through the end of the year. So my daughter was down for my daughter-in-law was down for Thanksgiving. Guys, if you meet us at a retreat, I just introduce Catherine as my daughter. She's married to my son. She's my daughter. So my daughter and I went up to Stitchery Express to stitch in, and I will show you the haul I got. But I got most of that top part done up at Stitchery Express on Saturday, and then I also got this part done Saturday, and then I had to unpick it Sunday because I had missed a row right there. So I had to unpick all of this, put that extra row in, put it back in, because let's face it, the border, yes, I probably could have fudged it, but the border was not going to match up because I was not going to remember when I got to the end. So that's been unpicked and restitched. And I put the words in Sunday, and now I'm working on this border. And so the fabric I got from Shepherd's Bush is just a white opalescent, and the border color is Noel by Pirate and Robin. New to me, Dyer, never heard of him before, but when I walked into Cindy's, I saw the Pirate and Robin Noel fiber, and it's like, oh my gosh, that is just what I need. That is just what I need, because I had stitched this with a red and green wildflower the first time I stitched it, and I didn't have enough to finish it. I would not have enough to do a second one, so I was looking for something that would be what I needed, and Noel by Pirate and Robin was just what I needed. It was perfect. But then I got thinking, I want something different for the words. The frame's one thing, but I want something different for the words. So the top verse will be in Ruby Slipper, and then the plan right now is to do the second verse in this green, which I tried to match it to everything in Classic Colorworks. I tried to match it with everything in Gas. It just didn't quite match. And I even tried DMC, but I didn't find one. That green is 245 anchor. Okay, so we're going to use 245 anchor for the middle verse, and then we'll do the bottom verse in gold. And I pulled a Classic Colorworks for the gold. I would have to look and see what it was. Oh wait, I can tell you what it is right here because I've got the project bag right here. So for the gold, I'm using Queen Bee. And I'm just wondering, if red, dark, gold is going to unbalance it. Should I do red, gold, and then the bottom verse in green? Because the green's definitely a heavier color. So, well, don't have to decide. I can just keep stitching the frame and decide at the end. So for Flossmas, we'll talk about Flossmas plans later. But haul. This is what I got up at Stitchery Express over Black Friday. Stitchery Express was having a bag sale, and I am generally not a fabric bag person. I generally have to be able to see into them, but these were so cute. I thought, you know, I will find a way to put a label on them so I remember what's in them. But I got the salamander bag, and that is what another reindeer is living in. I got this bag, which is just really pretty. And this was the large bag. And you can't see it in, I don't know, maybe you can see it. But it's chrysanthemums with gold on them. And it just really struck me as kind of a Japanese style fabric. And I just loved it. It was very pretty. It just has an oriental feel to it. So those were the bags I got. And then I was not planning on doing a lot of haul. I really was not planning on having a lot of haul. But my dealer in Texas called me and said, there's a new Just Nan coming out. Do you want it? And this is a limited edition. I know some shops have had trouble getting it, but my dealer got it for me. So I have the 20 Haunted Windows Pentagon Ball. And I also have Tiny Ginger Boy Cube. I've already done all the Christmas mice, and after I finish them, Kara from Kay in the Cave, she helped eliminate my leftover mice and took them from me. But I have mice that can sit on this cube. So we have that to work on. And then I found out that embroidery.com has decided to close up shop. Apparently Donette has sold the business, and they are getting rid of a lot of their hand embroidery things. They're going to focus more on the machine embroidery. But they have been having, if you are in the Logan area, which my daughter Catherine lives in Logan with my son James, they have been having all sorts of sales. So here we have a 22 by 18 inch piece of Twilight Blue Smoky Pearl linen for $8.68. $18 by 11 piece of Cashel Smoky White, 28 count. Oh, that Smoky Pearl was 32. I used to stitch on 36 and 40. I just can't see it anymore. My eyes have gone bad. So 32 and 28 is where I am today. 32 Graceful Gray. I thought, that is such a lovely gray. And then this piece, this linen chocolate raspberry, 28 count. It is just perfect for some of the pieces that I have from the Under the Sea Fabrics retro Christmas box that is in my Flossmas pack right now. So I have some extra of that chocolate raspberry red. And then this is Moss Covered Woods printed linen. And I don't know, it just was I'm pretty sure it's a fabric flare. But look how huge that is. And I was thinking if I went this direction, is that the right direction? Anyway, Doesn't that look like a swamp? I was thinking this direction, and a couple of the Mirabilia witches, or some of the. I'm sure I've got some pixies or ladies that would fit on that. I could even do. Thinking you could even do one of the Whispered in the Wind gates. Okay, and that was, I wasn't going to have a long haul this month. And then one of the ladies from the A&G called and said, hey, how do you feel about neons? Because I'm never, ever going to stitch this, and I think I've lost the canvas. But it's got all the fibers. So I just have to get a piece of canvas. And you'll remember back in May, I won the EGA basket. Well, one of the things in that basket is a gift certificate to Needlepoint Joint in Ogden, and they sell canvas. So I could get the canvas for that with the gift certificate from the gift basket. So, also, my Needle Pointers magazine came, and it has a dreidel on the front and a cute cat geisha on the back. And the designer spotlight is Dan Blackwater. He does some really nice geometric designs. And then one of their regular articles is called The Tale of Two Stitchers, and they have two stitchers with the same canvas, and they show the different treatments they get. The different looks you get when you use different fibers and different stitches. That's kind of really interesting. That's one of the cool things about needlepoint is, pattern's just a place to start. What you do to it, what you do with it is up to you. And an article about adding dimension to your canvas. Just different stitches you can do. Then they give instructions for that pattern. This one's a counted pattern. Or you can draw it on. Either way, they give you instructions that you can draw it on. And it's interesting because you can do it as the canvas or cut them apart and do them as individual trees. I may actually stitch those as individual trees when I finish my Little House Needleworks Christmas Village. I could put those trees around with it. And then they've got the pattern for this stocking. So getting the Needle Pointers magazine is part of your A&G subscription. So I belong to two guilds. I belong to the American Needlepoint Guild, and I belong to the Embroiderers Guild of America. Now here's the thing. You don't have to be in America to belong to either of those guilds. There are virtual chapters of both guilds that invite stitchers from all over the world. The thing that's interesting is we're finding that fewer and fewer people are joining guilds. And I'll admit, I went out on social media and asked, why don't you join a guild? Do you stitch with other people? And there were a bunch of people who are like, I don't even like the online groups. I would much rather do my own thing. I don't like the politics. I don't like the people. I don't like the, I just got piled on by introverts. But you know what? It's fine. I learned something. That's really what it was about, was I was trying to learn. I was sitting here with this pole growing out of my head. I learned. But I also learned that a lot of people don't even know about EGA or ANG. You know what? I'll put links to both groups down in line. You can check and see if there's a chapter in your area if you are at all interested in joining a group. If you're not interested, if there's no local chapter, or if you don't like the local chapter, consider joining the virtual ones, because both groups send you their magazine, which has patterns, lots of information, lots of learning stuff. And I've some of the people said, well, I don't like EGA because they're just so judgmental. Yeah, they're the governing body that certifies judges for competition. So yeah, they are a little judgmental because they're kind of a stitching police. But they also encourage people to learn, and if you've got a style you like, nobody's going to kick you out. They may ask you why you do it that way. They may ask you if you know a better way to do it or a different way to do it. But, you know, if you like your way, keep your way. So anyway, that's my plug for the guilds. So remember back in May, I won the grand prize basket for EGA. I also won the grand prize basket this year for ANG. And before I moved the basket over, Mary Rhodes, I got her canvas workbook, tons and tons of stitches, plus a history. It includes the history of stitches as well as how to do them. Elizabeth Bradley's decorative Victorian needlework. And if you've looked into needlepoint at all, you will find Elizabeth Bradley kits all over the place. So I'm kind of excited about this book because it's got cool stuff in it. Also in the box, one of our members went to Prague and she brought back these strawberries. This is just a cool box. Yes, I've eaten all the strawberries, but I just thought this box was kind of cool. And somebody will probably get a gift in it at some point. But there are everything is completely origami. It's folded. There are no seams and there are seams, but there's like no staples, no glue. It's just an origami box. And they were white chocolate covered strawberries. Dehydrated white chocolate covered strawberries, and they were really, really good. So I'm probably going to ask my friend with a dehydrator next spring or next spring when strawberries come in to sale and are really cheap, if I can borrow her dehydrator and dehydrate strawberries, and then I will melt chocolate chips and I will make my own chocolate covered strawberries next year. Okay, so I gave the basket back, but this is what was in the basket. It was held together with this embroidery hoop. I'm sorry for the crinkling, for those of you that are upset by crinkling. Mill Hill kits. So we have several Mill Hill kits. A cute little island girl. A Paris bookmark. Same trip as Prague. This is in French. So we have a bookmark from Paris, a box of tissues, a cute little storage box with beads and ribbon. No, it's beading thread. So we have beads and beading thread in the little storage box. More Mill Hill kits. Wildflowers. Instructions for Tony the Lion, which tells me probably Tony the Lion is in here. Index cards, which are always helpful when you're a Scrum Master. A box of needle threaders. I once had a teacher tell me, if you are using needle threaders, you're not doing it right. And it's like, dude, not all of us have the best eyesight. Reindeer stocking and mitten set. Kit, perforated paper. A bunny. More wildflowers. A mystery floss. Anchor 259. Watercolors, kelp. That's a nice green. Ah! Tony the Lion with the floss, the pre-printed fabric, okay, I need to keep these together, they can't apart, but some more little cute kits. Those will be easy to teach beginners. Pencils, some buttons, Anchor 300, floss drop rings, DMC 3341, probably goes with Tony the Lion. American Quilt Collection, Flora J. Perrin Designs. That's a canvas work piece. Remember, this is the Needlepoint Guild. A cute snowman canvas. And I have just the sparkly fibers to go on that. A Debbie's Designs counted piece. I don't know if I would do those orange swirls. I don't know if I would do those. But I like the colors of the rest of it. This is Catherine's Purple Geometrics by Gay Ann Rogers. I believe it goes that way. Okay, I've got some pillows I've done of Gay Ann Rogers quilt patterns. She did some mystery patterns that were really cool. Another of those little boxes. Greetings from Utah. A sleigh canvas. Some sparkly thread. Krynic, number 12 braid, 3231. Anchor Pearl Cotton in 330. Which again, I'm thinking that probably goes with Tony the Lion. Some more Anchor Floss, 342 and 117. Encore and Mandarin Floss. Thinking again, these look like they might go with Tony the Lion. Tyrolean Santa by Just Libby Design. And this is a counted canvas pattern. Another Gayanne Rogers pattern, Malachite Heart. I have a basket over here on the side that I'm tossing this stuff into. Pair of scissors. A Santa canvas. I'm thinking you could probably finish that as a round. You could also finish it as a brick. But that would be a cute one. Gledhill's House. Canvas and stitch guide. Flower Garden with fibers. Krenico 32, number 16 braid. Everybody can always use 032. It's a sparkly white. Canvas and stitch guide for, this is Jeweled Santa Scrunchie Kit. It's a bow geste pattern. Bow geste was one of the first needlepoint designers I ever knew the name of. The other one was Peter Ash. Peter Ash passed away this year. I have a Peter Ash canvas upstairs that I started working on, but then got thinking, somehow in my brain it's like, oh, I can't work on this, it's a Peter Ash, because he became really sought after, and all of his patterns are one of a kind, and it's just, well, okay, I don't know for sure they're one of a kind, but he hand painted his canvases. So I just need to buckle down and finish the Christmas stocking upstairs, and then work on my other stockings. And number 8 braid in silver, 001. Some mug rugs. They crinkle a little bit. I wonder what she used inside of them. Some pillowcases. And pillowcases, so pillowcases and needlepoint go together, because if you're working on a really large needlepoint like the Peter Ash stocking, you generally keep it stored, you generally keep your whip stored in a pillowcase. And then, oh, there's the bow that it was on it. Another canvas. And this one's already mounted. So you've seen different ways you've seen different ways, hold on. Okay, you've seen different ways that I do cross stitch. You've seen a Q snap. I love nurge hoops. Sometimes I'll work in hand, sometimes I'll work on scroll frames. Needlepoint, it's always mounted canvas. And this one's mounted on the outside. I usually prefer to stitch in the ditch. So but this one has been mounted for me. More buttons and some little sun charms as well. And some Mill Hill beads. And that is everything that was in the basket. No, let's see, we move this way so we didn't have the pole coming out of our head. It's okay, I'll have the pole coming out of my head. Okay, so that is the haul, and that is a lot of stuff. So, Flossmas plans. I still have 1,500 stitches to finish on TW's carousel to hit my 10%. I have 7,000 stitches to finish on my Haid to hit my 10%. I still need 3,000 stitches on Fortunate Traveler. And it's hard to work on Fortunate Traveler because it's in a different room from everything else that I do. I've just got to make some time, spend a couple afternoons. But again, it's a Teresa Wentzler. I can spend 4 hours and maybe get 200-300 stitches. You know, that's just the nature of the way she designs. The other piece I haven't touched this year is Dragon Carousel. This is a Patricia Allison pattern. And I was stitching on this with a really good friend of mine, Julie Shatima. And unfortunately, Julie passed away this fall. Her daughter found her. And I was not able to make it to the funeral because I found out about it afterwards. But I don't know how far Julie got on hers. But this is where I am on mine. So I mentioned I was working on 3 carousels. You've seen Wild Hunt. You saw the Teresa Wentzler carousel. This is the 3rd. I'm pretty sure this is the same fabric as I'm using on Wild Hunt. The Teresa Wentzler carousel just did not work on this. So I was figuring when I frame them, I'll do the Teresa Wentzler in the center here and the other 2 carousels on either side. And I'll probably go diagonal that way. But this is where I am on the Patricia Allison carousel. And I probably am not going to get 5,000 stitches in this. But if I get some stitches done on it, that will be more than I had last year. So I am planning on putting in at least 100 to 150, possibly 200 each night on those. But I also want to do Flossmas. So our Flossmas options. I'm going to finish another reindeer. And I know there's a lot of people like Maine Girl in an Arizona World, or is it Arizona Girl in a Maine World? I'll put her link down below. She's planning on doing Flossmas. Jason, I'll put his link below too. He's planning on filming like every other day. I'm going to film as I get a chance. They won't all be this long, but then this is a full month's reporting. Okay, other Flossmas options. I could start ornaments, but let me show you. I could also work on whips. So here's Jack's Tree Farm. I'm doing this over 1 on, I'm pretty sure it's a 28 count. And I'm currently working on the center tree. And then I have the cookie stand, the Douglas fir, and the pine to finish. And these ones are all done. So you can see what I've got finished. See where I've got finished. And I just have, for floss, if I just even worked one or 2 days on it for Flossmas, I could get quite a bit done. But I think the goal is that I'm going to put in at least 100 to 200 stitches towards my goal stitching for the night, and then I can work the rest of the night on Flossmas. Remember at the beginning of the year, I was going to stitch 2 Little House Needleworks a month. Yeah, didn't happen. So I am on Town Church. This is how much of Town Church I have done. So I'm sure one of the Flossmas nights will get devoted to Town Church. And then these are the ones I have left to finish from Hometown Holiday. I may start one of these. Every single one of them has their fabric already cut in the back. That one would be a cute one to do too. I have not even, this is the birdhouse. This is the final one in the set. The birdhouse was the final one. Oh. Ice cream shop. I have extras of ice cream shop because I kept thinking I didn't have it and I didn't take it off my wish list, and then I bought several copies of it. Post office. This is why it's so important to catalog my patterns as soon as I get them, so I don't buy duplicates. The music store. Pop's filling station. The quilt shop. I already did the needle workshop. And this one is the coffee shop. And I'm going to finish those as flat folds. And that's going to be my Christmas village because I gave away all my porcelains last year. Okay, other things I can work on for Flossmas. Royal Holiday by Mirabilia. A friend of mine had stitched almost all of her. She just needs beads and whisper. This is where she's at. So if I just took a couple nights and put the beads and the whisper on, she would be done and ready to go to the framer. Oh, and some of the whispers even been started. Yeah, see, some of the whispers even been started. So finish the whisper here, the whisper up here, put in all the beads, and she will be ready to go to the framer. I don't talk about stitching politics a lot, but some of the stitching politics around Nora Corbett, who does Mirabilia, if you want to Google it, go for it. But I'm just happy that somebody decided that they were willing to give up their piece because they just did not love it anymore. And I will benefit from that. And she even did over one skin. So that face is over one. Is that just amazing? Thank you, Sarah. Okay, Yule Goat. When I first saw this pattern, I'm like, why would anybody stitch this? I'll admit, I've never stitched a primitive hare before, but I was looking at that going, it's just so bland. And then I saw a shop that had it on a blue, and that Yule Goat just popped. So you can't really see it there on the white on white, but I'm really hoping that it'll pop on a blue. And I'm going to give Joblin another chance because this is a fat quarter of Joblin Naiad. I have the Yule goat all kitted up. So this is my next new start for Flossmas. The other thing I'm thinking about starting is Christmas Parade, which is an adorable pattern by Cottage Garden Samplings. And I have this piece of fabric flare, and I'm not going to stitch the alphabets or the hearts in that. I'm going to stitch this. I'm going to stitch the parade on here. I saw it at Stitchery Express and it was just adorable. I may put something up at the top. I may stitch another pattern up at the top, an ornament pattern or something. But at the moment it's just stitching the parade. So you'll remember I also had the retro box from Under the Sea Fabrics. These were the two fabrics in it. And I mentioned that the raspberry, while not quite the same color, it's a little darker than what is this? Poinsettia pot. So the chocolate raspberry is a little darker than poinsettia pot, but I figure it gives me more opportunity to stitch these. So guys, I'm not going to be able to stitch all of these. So please, 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 please vote for which ones you would like to see me stitch. We have Counting Puddles, Turtle Tidings ornament, and I know I have the other two ornaments that go with this set, but I don't know where I filed them. So I will probably look for those. But that's what it looks like on the blue. That's what it looks like on the red. Exact same pattern. You can see the difference fabric makes. Also, Lindsay from Counting Puddles is going to be the featured designer at Maggie's on Main retreat in Boise, Idaho next July. Catherine and I are going to Maggie's on Main. So it is a very small retreat. It is only 50 stitchers and they cut it off at 50 because that's all the room will hold. But we got in. And as far as I know, there's still like about 20 spots left. But Boise, Idaho in the summer is nice and cool. No humidity. Beautiful place. Winter Moose. So, oh, if you want to vote for me to stitch this one, put turtle. Winter Moose. If you want me to stitch this one from Art of Design, put moose. The Merry Christmas ornament from Lucy Beam. I don't know if you can see that. It just says Merry Christmas. So it's just stitched in with green and white. I don't like that on the blue, so I'd probably stitch that on the red, on the chocolate raspberry or something. Winter. So for this one, just say snowflake. Winter window. I used almond M&M silk. The finishing trim is from Lady Dot Creates. It was finished as a flat fold. This is Screen Door Needleworks, Winter Window. Vote for this one, say window. Prancer. I may stitch this one anyway. I really like Dirty Annie's designs. Her patterns are easy to follow. The instructions are simple. And it's just a single. She did this with just a single floss. It's Auld Lang Syne by M&M Studios. And it uses a full skein. So I probably have something close. You know, actually, I bet I could use this. I bet I could use that on the blue or on the white. I don't know. Might look better on that. Yeah, okay. Prancer. This one may get done whether or not you vote for it. But if you want to sway me, vote for Prancer. From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy, who I met in Casper the first year I went to Casper, and she was wonderful. She did Good Holidays ornaments. There's the house and Good Night. No, Good Yule. The house or Good Yule. So vote for these by either saying house or Yule. And then we have Stompy the Yule Goat by Auden Familiar. I think I like Stompy on red. You can vote for Stompy by just saying Stompy. Okay, we also have Bella Filipina, Festive Yuletide Topiary. That looks really good on the green. But again, that's also a computer-generated design. I've got to say, that's one of the things that's just really bothered me lately, is using a computer-generated design instead of actual stitching for your samples. I mean, how do you know what it looks like when it's stitched up? Are you sure that's what it looks like? So anyway, I have several Bella Filipinas, but I have never stitched one. So if you'd like to vote for this, just say, you can say either Bella or Topiary. Vote for this one with Partridge. I think that'd look cool on the red as well, on the blue. You could probably do that on the blue. Here's another Bella Filipina. This is the wreath. So he designed one on the blue, one on the red. So we can't use Bella for voting on this, guys. So topiary or wreath. Or you can say potted plant if you don't know how to spell topiary, or I have enough trouble saying it. So wreath or plant. Jan Hicks Creates Christmas Countdown. Vote for this one with just 25. Because I have a lot of ornaments I could start there. I could also stitch the one out of the Just Cross Stitch ornament for my kids. This also came with the retro kit. So this is Night Stalkers Calling Tinsel Turquoise and New Old Fashioned Turquoise Tinsel and New Old Fashioned Way are the threads in it. And there's the fabric that was sent for it. And that is Winter Wonderland from Under the Sea Fabrics. Okay, one last thing. I got the Night Stalkers Calling Christmas box. And we're going to open it. Nice pretty gold paper. Numbered packages. Today is December 1st. So if I decide to film Flossmas every day or every other day, I will go ahead and open these with you. So here we go. Day number 1 of Night Stalkers Calling. We have Candy Cane. So this is cotton floss, dye lot Advent 10 yards of candy cane. That's what we have for day 1. Okay, guys. That is all the stitching. So let's talk about crime. I actually printed out the court calendar detail. First up, we are going to talk about Jennifer Gledhill. Jennifer Gledhill was arrested about this time last year when she told her boyfriend that he didn't have to worry about her divorce being delayed anymore because she had removed her to-be ex-husband from the scene. Police found her parents cleaning the crime scene, and they had disposed of the original mattress and had ordered a new mattress from Amazon. There was a rooftop carrier that was missing from the house, and police later found the top of the rooftop carrier with Matthew Gledhill's blood in it out by the Great Salt Lake. Now, Matthew Gledhill was Matthew Johnson. Hold on. I dropped my phone earlier, remember? I can't remember if he was Matthew Johnson or Matthew Gledhill. And we want to get the victim's name right. It is Matthew Johnson. Jennifer Gledhill, 41, was arrested October 2nd, 2024, as police alleged that Matthew Johnson is not missing. So Matthew Johnson was a member of the Utah National Guard, and he failed to turn up for drill. And that's when he was reported missing. It was assumed that he was AWOL, and it turned out that no, he was unalived. The National Guard has been searching for the body. Sheriff's departments have been searching for the body. GPS pretty much indicates that she dumped it somewhere along the Davis corridor of the Great Salt Lake, up near Willard Bay. And several people said, I just can't believe they can't find it. How, if you know the area, how can you not find it? People, this is a salt marsh. There are animals there's predation that happens. Things sink in the marsh and you don't see them for hundreds of years. You remember when we were all afraid of quicksand as kids? Yeah, there's quicksand out there. It's just not as big a deal as we all thought it was going to be when we were kids. So anyway, she has a pretrial hearing December 4th. They have found that there is enough evidence to hold the trial. And not just a grand jury. They held a preliminary hearing and presented enough evidence to show that, yeah, Matthew's probably no longer on this mortal coil. And Jennifer's why he's not. Oh, by the way, I didn't show everybody my shirt. It says, I need a minute to overthink this. And it's the shirt I got at Stitch West this year because they didn't have the Stitch Society shirt in my size. So anyway, Jennifer is charged with charged with red rum, a first-degree felony, obstruction of justice, a capital first-degree felony conduct, obstruction of justice, second-degree felony, capital first-degree felony conduct, obstruction of justice. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 obstruction of justice cases, abuse or desecration of a human body, a deceased human body, and then the 2 charges that I did not remember hearing anywhere else but show up on the court docket detail: possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance. So yeah, there were drugs involved in this one. Am I surprised? No, I'm not. Actually, I am surprised that nobody said anything about it until I looked it up on the court docket. And tampering with a witness. So I'm wondering, where'd the tampering from a witness come from? That's going to be interesting to find out in the hearing, because they're going to have to prove who was the witness that she tampered with. Now remember, she's the one whose parents were initially arrested too, because they were upstairs cleaning out the bedroom. They had disposed of the mattress. They had ordered her a new mattress. Oh, and Matthew's firearm is missing. Just saying. I don't know why her parents were released and charges dropped. Maybe they're going to testify against their daughter. You know, I'm sorry, I just don't see cleaning up a murder scene for my kids. So there are other ways to deal with these things. And here I am saying words that YouTube is going to downgrade my algorithm for. Not like anybody ever sees my floss tubes anyway. So all 60 of you that watch this, thank you. Mainly this is for me. I film for me. But it's kind of fun to check out these cases. We have Corey Richards coming up in February, and internationally, they're looking at her. The other case, this is the new one. This one is painful. So tomorrow, December 2nd, Micah Z. Smith is going to be arraigned. His arraignment is tomorrow. It is going to be a virtual hearing. It is his initial appearance from the jail. Following Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke, there had been enough of a national outcry about Utah's sentencing laws that a new law was put on the books the next legislative session that is a stronger CA case. It is intentionally or knowingly I don't know if YouTube will let me say it, but it's a T word. So it's intentionally or knowingly teen a child. Examples of the T word are waterboarding, throwing them into a cactus, chaining them to a bed, basically, let's see if we use Ruby and Jody's, putting cayenne pepper laced honey into an open wound. I mean, those are all things, they even waterboarded their kids. So yeah, those are all examples of things that Ruby and Jody did to the children. And Utah has added child T as a first-degree felony in the state of Utah. So Micah Smith, on October 11th, decided to go hiking with his 8, 4, and 2-year-old. And he picked one of the most advanced trails in Salt Lake County. I mean, this is one that beginning adults do not take. The interesting thing is, a month previously, he had said he was going to self-harm by climbing a mountain and possibly jumping off. At the time that the police interviewed him in September, he had several firearms and an axe with him. But they were able to stop him from going up the mountain. Well, here it is, October 11th. He takes his 3 children and goes on this trail. While he's on the trail, he's sending video to his wife, who, by the way, they are going through a divorce. And, you know, we haven't heard anything in the way of motives, but one of the videos, his 8-year-old asks him, "Daddy, are we going to freeze?" To D. And he sent that to his estranged wife. And all I can think is this man was doing his absolute best to hurt this woman and didn't mind sacrificing his kids to do this. When search and rescue got injured getting up to the kids, he left the 8-year-old performing CPR on either the 4 or 2-year-old. I don't remember which, but he left his 8-year-old in charge of a 4 and 2-year-old on a freezing mountain and went looking for help. When search and rescue got to the children, it was either the 4 or the 2-year-old, both the 4 and 2-year-old were unconscious, and one of them, their body temperature was 62 degrees. And they think that's the fact that they were that cold is probably what saved them. One of the children is, okay, the 8-year-old was taken to the hospital, checked over, and released to the care of their mother. One of the other 2 children is awake and talking, or at least responding. A few days after the incident, Micah was trespassed from Primary Children's Hospital for interference with medical equipment. Now, no one has said what the interference with medical equipment is. Given the condition of the 4-year-old, that the 8-year-old was performing CPR, given the fact that they were still in the hospital several weeks later, given that it was in ICU, my personal opinion, my supposition, my rumor on this is he unplugged life support. Okay? I can't prove it. I don't know, but that is my guess. We'll find out in court maybe. But tomorrow, he has his initial appearance. The county prosecutor is asking for no bail. Basically with the understanding that he may be a threat to himself or his children, given what he did up at the hospital. There was initially a GoFundMe for him. It's since been taken down. It was taken down the day of his arrest. He was arrested last Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. And we're looking at 6 counts of first-degree felony, aggravated CA, and CT. So all 2 counts per child. And I'm seeing a lot of places on social media blaming the mother. This is the children's father who showed up at the mother's house and told them they were going to go have a fun day out. October 11th, right before Halloween, a lot of Halloween things. For all she knew, they were going to a pumpkin patch. Maybe they were going up to the zoo. He did not tell her what he intended to do. So no, I don't blame the mom at this point. If other information comes out, I may change my mind, but at this time, there is absolutely nothing to show that she had any clue. And from what has come out in the news, as soon as he started sending the pictures, she begged him to turn around and come back. And as soon as it got to be late enough that she knew he wasn't coming back tonight, she called the police and said, hey, they're lost on the mountain. So she was the one that turned it in. You know, she's got to be just absolutely dying inside right now. She is probably going through the worst torture herself. And obviously CPS and the police didn't find any problems because the 8-year-old was released to her custody. So anyway, that's what I've got for everybody today. Those are the 2 cases I have for December. I will probably film something for Flossmas to show you how my Flossmas is going. Please vote for your choices for Flossmas. Which ornaments would you like to see me work on? What would you like to see me start for Flossmas? Otherwise, I'm just going to work on my whips. You can vote for my whips if you'd rather have me work on my whips too. Anyway, happy holidays. Festival of Lights starts any day now. Actually, it might. I don't know. It might even be tonight. Whatever you celebrate, please have an enjoyable time. See you later this month.